Hello, my name is Brent Kerr and this is my ePortfolio Comp highlight video. Start off with my goals. I'm the Applied Technology Instructor at Ness City High School. It seems like when I tell that, people ask what I can teach as an Applied Technology Instructor. I teach construction, drafting, cabinet making, plumbing, heating and air, electrical, and drafting. So probably some of my favorites are those hands-on courses, and drafting as well. It's not as hands-on, but it's actually becoming more and more hands-on with some of the technology we have at the school now. My personal information: I graduated from Fort Hays State University as a technology instructor. I'm currently the USD 303 applied technology instructor, and I actually graduated from Ness City High School, which presents some neat challenges and things like that. It's neat to have some of those kids, the kids of kids that I went to high school with. I have a wife and 4 kids, 3 girls and 1 boy. We like to kayak in our free time. Hopefully after I finish up my ePortfolio, I get to have a little more time for that. I also enjoy hunting and fishing, and just any time I can spend with my family. We own a small farm east of Ness City. We run about 25 head of red Angus cows. We have a great big garden out at the farm, and my kids have recently talked me into some chickens. So that's a new experience for us as well. My educational background: I graduated from Ness City High School, then went on to Fort Hays State University and got a bachelor's degree of science and technology studies in secondary education. And my master's degree is currently pending with this ePortfolio. My personal goals: 1 to 5 years, I hope to continue to grow my cow herd. I'd like to finish all of my remodel projects at the house. I'm sure my wife would like me to finish those as well. And then I'd like to send my 2 kids off to some sort of post-secondary education in the next 1 to 5 years. 5 to 10 years, I'd like to continue with the farm, grow the cow herd, and eventually we'd like to build a house out at the farm. And last, send the 3rd off to post-secondary education. In 10 years, we'd like to send the 4th one off to some sort of post-secondary education and start to prepare for retirement. As far as my professional goals go, in 1 to 5 years, I'd like to continue growing my CTE program. I have a big construction program at Ness City High School where we've started building tiny homes, and I'd like to push that out to other districts as well. The last school year, I had 8 other schools building tiny homes, 7 of those in Kansas and 1 in Wisconsin. So I'd like to push that program. That's been a big thing for my students, and I'd like to see that grow. In 5 to 10 years, I'd like to work my way into a principal position at my current high school or somewhere within 30 miles of the district I already am in. I'd also like to work towards my superintendent certification, and then in the 10 plus years, secure a superintendent position at my local district or one within 30 miles and prepare for retirement. Why Fort Hays State? Cost was a big factor. My district actually paid for a good portion of my master's degree. Last year, after I pretty much had my coursework done, they negotiated for 100% reimbursement, but it makes no difference. It really didn't amount to that much with what they had been already paying. The other thing was familiarity. I already knew Blackboard. I already knew some of those types of things, so it was good to go somewhere that was familiar to me. Might not always be the right reason, but it was definitely the right reason for me. Expectations: considering that all I lack to finishing is this practicum, it is hard to say what I expected in the beginning. It's been a long time ago. At this point, I expect to graduate with a master's degree, and no matter what happens, even if I don't become a principal, I know that this coursework will help me in the classroom. I know that it's made me a better teacher. Moving on to educational philosophy. My educational philosophy, I believe I'm a situational leader. I don't know that every leadership style allows for the same, or every situation allows for the same leadership response. So that's why I put the situational leader. Ken Blanchard is kind of the father of situational leadership. You know, a leader always needs positive influence. And I think that the goal for a leader always, especially as a school leader, always needs to be student driven. So that's why I chose that situational leader. Plan of study, I don't know that that's something we need to go over. As far as my resume goes, the one thing that's different about my resume probably than most, I did take a little bit of time out from the school. I taught for a couple years, got out of it, and then came back to the school. In that time that I took off, I was actually a loan officer at a local bank. I managed all of the collateral inspection, all of the appraisal work that was in-house appraisal work, and doing some of those loans. This was a good opportunity for me, but I knew pretty shortly after I started that I probably wasn't going to be happy doing this for the rest of my life. So when my old job opened back up at the high school I was at, I feel pretty fortunate that I was able to get back into that. Sometimes you don't know what you're missing until you're actually missing it. So it was good for me to go, but I'm glad that I did that, but I'm definitely glad to be back. Quick scroll through my annotated bibliography. I did this in a short amount of time, but it's not that I didn't spend a lot of time on it. There's a tremendous amount of sources in here. Looks like 28 pages of material. This was great to go through and just read on different circumstances and different people's work. I know that this is something that I will go back to in the future and actually plan to build on. We'll move on to my district activities. The first slide is about the mission, the school's mission, and this might seem like a little bit of a reach, but I don't think that a mission can be carried out if our students don't feel safe. So we have an emergency preparedness plan put together for almost every situation, almost every crisis. They put our district crisis team put together this emergency preparedness flip chart. You can go to all of that stuff. My principal has pushed this very, very hard, that our students need to feel safe coming to work. Or coming to school, not to work. Staff needs to feel safe coming to work as well. So that's one of the big ones for me, and I thought that this was a big deal and something that they spent a lot of time on, and something that our administration pushed. Next is the professional norms. So I believe that our administrators know their professional norms pretty well. What's right, what's wrong, how things need to be worked out. At one point in time, there were some comments about we had a few little budget items that needed to be addressed, and we had a school board member mention, maybe we can fill some of those budget holes with money from the sale of our tiny house, and our superintendent made it very clear that any money that is accrued by students or made by students is money that needs to be spent on students. So the first house we built, it cost us about $25,000 to make. We realized a gross profit of around $30,000. So we had the money to build the next house and a little extra. And then after we built the second house, we had plenty of money left over, and it was time to start spending that on some of those students. So the video that you see to the side here is a piece of equipment that we purchased that was all basically made by the students. So that's a 4x8 CNC router, and I think it's pretty cool that that's something that the students basically did the work to put in our classroom. skip through that. Here's another one. So this is actually one of the very first board meetings I started going to. These three boys presented at that meeting. You don't see them in the boardroom. I was nervous that night for those guys. So when we got a yes vote to build a tiny house, and the district was going to approve a budget of $25,000 to build that first house, I was pretty excited. But anyhow, an administrator will advocate for resources for students to produce students and produce opportunities for students to learn. Prior to this, we had cabinet making class and construction class. Some of these students were building yard sheds, and those three boys in that picture could probably whip you a yard shed out in about a week and a half. They worked hard. They knew what they were doing, and they came to class and said, "Hey, we're tired of building yard sheds. We want a challenge." I relayed that message to the superintendent, and we came up with a tiny house idea. Move on quickly to elementary. School leader will evaluate school culture. So this is one that I thought was pretty cool. You see a high school girl with an elementary school student reading a book. We've made time to do that with our kids. That's great for our younger students. They have somebody to look up to, and it's great for our high school students. They have somebody that's looking up to them. It kind of gives them, they've got a little skin in the game to act right and do the right thing, because they know that these younger kids are looking up to them. In fact, since that started, several of us teachers have gotten together and talked about, so-and-so said they didn't do this because, they had a younger kid looking up to them. So I think that's a big one. This one is the same type of deal. It deals with relationships. The actual activity was in the elementary school, but I couldn't find a picture that I liked for that. So I went ahead and gave a picture of a part of my Eagle family. That group of kids helped me deliver a tiny house out to Leadville. I knew a couple really excellent fishing spots, so I took that group of kids out there to fish out in Leadville, and they're holding a great big stringer of trout. We took those to the bed and breakfast we stayed in that evening, filleted them up and cooked them, and it was just an excellent opportunity for me to build relationships with those students, as well as those students to build relationships with each other. Family engagement night. So the school leader will cultivate and collaborate among staff and families in support of student learning. Just a quick shot here. This is a family engagement night. That night they had some prizes for those students, and it was actually a board game, so it was kind of a kill two birds with one stone. Get the kids there by saying, "Hey, we've got a board game if you come in," and then they get to go back with their families and spend some time playing that board game. So that was one of our family engagement nights. The last one in the elementary, we had been talking about COVID before COVID was a big deal. I'll make this slide quick. But anyhow, our district leadership team had some insight, as well as our superintendent and principal, that this sort of thing was going on. So I think there were a lot of schools that they just didn't have any idea. They just didn't come back from spring break. We had a pretty good plan. I wouldn't say that our plan was perfect and that the education was perfect, but it was a good opportunity, and we did work hard at it even ahead of time. Moving on to secondary real quick. School leader will support differentiated instruction. So these kids are at one of the central offices for Golden Belt Telephone learning about fiber. Master schedule, this is one I really wanted to hit. This is something my principal works very, very hard at, and with as few staff as we have, he does an excellent job of doing what he can to make students, to allow students to be in the classes they need to be in. And then lastly is the CTE. Of course, that one's important to me, but it looks like I'm running out of time. I appreciate your time and look forward to